Hello once again, and I am so excited to have you with me, us, Cheryl Nembhard here. Thank you for joining us for On the Path with Cheryl Nembhard, and I always say us because, as you know, we are in the classroom of life. Life is one of our greatest teachers, and storms are our professors. They teach us amazing lessons about who we are, where we're going, who our friends are and aren't, and also a little bit about the changes that we should make in our path. And there's an amazing teacher that's coming to you who I admire one of the most of all. She's a great friend of mine and an absolute encourager. She's inspirational. She has lived a life that will blow you away, and she's a life coach that just pushes you to the next level of your life. You are going to be inspired. We're talking about purpose. We're talking about following your purpose, knowing what it is, pursuing it, and the bravery to really walk fully in it. It's not easy. It takes a lot of thick skin, but we know that with a little bit of help and a little bit of encouragement from this next guest, you are going to be on your way. So let's talk purpose. See you in a bit. For this vlog because I get to interview one of my dearest friends. This beautiful powerhouse is Makini Smith. I probably don't need to mention her name if you're in the city of Toronto and have a heartbeat. But if you don't know who she is, let me tell you a little bit about Makini. She is a best-selling author. She is a personal life coach, motivational speaker. She is an incredible social media force. You need to get on her social media stuff if you want to be picked up, perked up, fired up every day. She's a mom of 3 kids, teenagers. Does she look okay? Moving on. What I love about her the most is that she is real, raw, and transparent. She has no problem sharing her life story and her mistakes. She is one of those rare people that I call lighthouses. She will share from her own ups and downs so that you can be inspired and make better life choices. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Yeah. No shame in our game. We will use our lives to teach. So Makini, thank you for coming.
Thank you for
on
having
the path.
me.
Thank you, and thank your hair. Your hair needs its own introduction.
The humidity is the sign.
The humidity is a friend to this lovely coil here. Makini, thank you for coming. This particular topic is so you. We're talking about purpose today. And I think if there's anyone that if I could have a little dictionary quote with a picture, someone who pursued their purpose bravely, it would be you. For me.
Thank you.
Yeah. I feel like you don't know the word no, or you don't care to know the word no, but no means nothing to you. You just drive right through. But I know it didn't come overnight.
No.
This sort of brave walk happened through instances and circumstances. So I'd love to hear a little bit of your story. But before we get there, when I say purpose and living a life of purpose, what does that mean to you? What's your definition of that?
So I'll give you a metaphor. You know, when you're going on a road trip and you punch in the GPS where you're trying to go?
Yeah.
No matter what happens along that route, along that journey, whether it's traffic, whether you have to be detoured, whether, road closure or what have you, that destination is locked into the GPS. So whatever alters you, you still end up at your point, your
destination,
your destination, where you're trying to go, your intention, where you set out to go. So I think in terms of life purpose, it's knowing where we're trying to go and not allowing all these instances to stop us just to take a different route in order to get there.
So purpose is really knowing sort of your destination that clear path to get there,
Your intention.
and your intention. Love that.
Yep.
And sort of steps 1, 2, and 3 leading up.
Yep.
I love it. How would you then help someone who is struggling to find their purpose? Maybe someone is watching right now and you are inspired to make a leap. You've watched maybe Makini's life or mine or someone else on the blog, and you're thinking, I want to make that bold leap, but I don't know what my purpose is. How would you encourage someone else to find their purpose?
So most successful people are good at being honest with themselves, and I think that most people who say they don't know what their purpose is, they haven't been honest with themselves. They're unable to.
It's raining.
Yeah, I
We
know.
need a little break, and this is a real deal. This is life, right? We took a little break because we've got some rain coming. I call it showers of blessing. She's bringing the blessing, and we're not worried about the rain. So we got our umbrella. We're going to keep it moving because life doesn't stop for anybody,
That's what happens.
right? Life doesn't stop. So I've got question 2 for you. I love your definition of purpose. That's brilliant to me. Intention, path, choices, destination, having a clear goal.
Yep.
But there's someone watching, and if you're like me, maybe a few years ago, back in my time of figuring things out, I was fired up. I knew I wanted to leap, but I couldn't figure out what my purpose was. And maybe you're sitting there and you're watching this and you're thinking, would love to leap, don't even know what my purpose is. How do I even begin? I've gotten many questions about how do I even know what my purpose is? And I thought that'd be a brilliant question for you because you really live that. So kind of an A and B. How would someone figure out their purpose? And then once they kind of get a sense, what's the first step after that?
Okay, so most successful people are really good at being honest with themselves, and they say that people who aren't honest with themselves really don't know what their direction is, and that's why they're unable to be successful.
Okay.
So one of the first things I do with my clients when I'm coaching them is to figure out what their purpose is and what their gifts are and their passion, and that's by really asking deep, thought-provoking questions.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Tell me.
Because okay, how do I break this down? So your thinking mind, which is your conscious mind, we say we know things, we say we want things, but how deep inside do we really want that, right? So our subconscious mind, which is our feeling mind, once you connect your goal, your intention to that, that's how people actually start to move towards what they truly believe. So your thoughts, your feelings affect your actions, which affects your results.
Because you could be thinking something for the longest time, but if you don't have that drive,
And if you haven't internalized it,
internalized it,
level.
the emotional bravery it takes to leap, then it's never going to happen.
Right.
I love that. So I think and how do I even figure out sort of what it is I've been called to, pulled to?
So we take a look at a lot of the things. So when we're children, for instance, they want to be all these extravagant things. They want to be
Yes.
astronauts. They have all these dreams, these desires.
Doctors, astronaut, firemen, all at the same time, all
Yeah,
three things.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right? And then they're told, be realistic. Right? So a lot of people lose who they truly are or their desire because of outside influence.
That's good.
We have, whether it be our parents or our environment that we grew up in, it's constantly hearing, well, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that, or don't do
Yeah,
that.
so true,
So that
Makini.
starts to seep into our subconscious, and emotionally we're like, I shouldn't do that. Meanwhile, a lot of people don't even understand why they shouldn't do that.
I love that.
So they suppress, what their true gifts are, what their true desires are, and what we do is really pull that back out of them. What was your true desire? What was that fantasy thing, right? So we don't look at, I call them surface goals, the goals that you can attain. And then there's like the second level goal, which is the goals you think you can attain. But we call them C goals, your fantasy goals. What were those fantasy goals that you had? We bring those back out of them.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, we bring those back out of them, and once you look at what they really want, and you ask them, are you willing and able to go after that?
Are you willing and able?
Are you willing and able?
Yeah.
And that's when we're able to punch that destination into their internal GPS and help them to move towards that.
Because I feel like this is for someone here. I feel like life and the issues of life, the weight of life has stopped you from dreaming, and I feel like this is for you. You have a dream. You've always had a dream. There's been something that's been pulling on you for years. Listen to what Makini was saying. It's that thing that pulled you, that ignited you when you were young. I always say, you kind of know what your purpose is. It's that thing you would do without pay. It's that thing you would do all night long. You'd lose sleep for. Like you just can't not do it. It's burning inside of you. But sometimes life, bills, let's talk about bills, y'all. Let's be real. Bills, weight, stress, all of that. Would you not say that really crushes?
Yeah.
And the you can't, the don'ts.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the voices. So you sort of like get rid of the voices, just silence that, and go back to that passion.
Yeah, it's not allowing outside circumstances or people
Yeah.
to prevent you from getting to that destination.
Do you see? Okay. Do you know why I picked her? Do you get it now? Okay, good. Okay, so, but this kind of knowledge, I know you've studied, you've done a lot of research, you've taken many courses. She's officially licensed by some of the best. You got to drop the name. Go ahead.
Bob Proctor.
By Bob Proctor, the Bob Proctor. And I know that you've got all of that under your belt, but there's a whole life that has qualified you.
Yep.
So without this certificate, you had certification. Life gave you that.
Yeah.
So I would love if you would be willing to share some of your story, because you didn't always walk in your purpose. You weren't, you didn't land and run full speed. There was a lot of mountains. There's a lot of detours, icebergs that crashed into Makini. Tell me about one or two big storms, because I always say storms are our greatest teachers. It's in the valley that we get to know ourselves, our friends, our enemies, and who God is, what He can do for us. What almost took you out? What almost veered you completely off your purpose that you had to kind of rise above?
If I had to sum it up in one word, I would say people. People, if I had listened to people, I would not have written one book, much less four. If I had listened to people, I would not have gone to be certified as a personal development coach. If I had listened to people, I would not have traveled the world. If I had listened to people, I would not have purchased a home, bought a car. I would not have done anything.
Yeah.
So I think people, unintentionally, can hinder a large part of our thought process, or how we go after our goals. You know, especially those closest to us that love us. We have family and friends that are conditioned to do things a certain way because of their perception. And when they're giving you advice and they're giving you counsel, that's off of their perception, right? So God gives us a vision. You can give it to them. So they may not see what we see. So
Did you have a lot of negative voices in your life? A lot of people that sort of ripped that dream away with their words and actions?
Very much so. You know, when I said I was gonna write a book, I had someone say, well, maybe you should test it out first. Like, you know, who'd kind of be interested in your story? That book brought me across the world doing book tours, you know what I mean? I had people tell me when I had my first child at 17, like, you know, you're not going to become anything in life. You're not going to do anything in life. You're not going to be anyone. You're not going to...
Pause. Did you hear that? Teenage pregnancy wasn't an excuse, still pushed through and became who she is. So that's a wonderful, that's the kind of iceberg I'm talking about. And I also know personally that you encountered a death, a very dear death. If you could even share about that, that almost took you out.
Definitely. So my sister passed away in 2012. She was the closest person to me. She was my rock, my foundation. And when she passed away, and in the way that she passed away, being in a coma for 3 weeks, that devastated me. Put the whole family, you know, into like post-traumatic stress.
Wow.
And I couldn't function for like 6 months.
Wow.
And then 6 months after, you know, getting back on my feet, my grandmother passed away in the same fashion, and she helped raise me since I was in kindergarten.
Oh my gosh.
So it was like a double hitter.
Yeah.
People close to me.
Yeah. And those two people, if I remember from our conversations, they were the encouragers.
Yep.
They were the few that were like, go Makini, you can do it, we believe in you. And so when those voices were gone, you were just surrounded by the naysayers. And that fire started to die. How did you get that fire back? How did you get your focus back?
So after my sister passed, I started to get a lot of messages from people about what she meant to them, what she had done for them, how she had inspired them. And it made me look at what kind of legacy I wanted to leave behind, how I wanted to be remembered. And I started to do things differently. I started to say things differently. I slowly became a different person.
Wow.
Just being more positive, posting positive things, encouraging other people, putting that positivity out there. You know, it's like a boomerang effect. It just comes right back. But that was what got me back to doing great things.
So here's why I want to, if this was a church, I'd do 2 laps. Here's why I want to run. Because when the storms came and knocked Makini away and out of her purpose, she found her purpose by forgetting about her own pain and pushing other people in their purpose. So sometimes the breakthrough happens when you can take a minute and step away from your own valleys and storms. And as there's a verse in the Bible that says, esteem someone else higher than yourself. Mm-hmm. Think about lifting other people up. Think about pushing other people. It's not, I would say it's bigger than you. Yeah. The vision is bigger than you. Definitely. The life is bigger than you. Your calling is bigger than you. You are not here for yourself. You're here to live for other people. We're not selfish in this world. We're here to make a difference. Yes. And so in her pain, she chose to make a difference in other people's lives. And by those tweets and those quotes and encouraging other people, you stumbled right back in to this purpose of encouraging and lifting people up. Yeah. And that's where the book kind of got birthed, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
So I want you to turn to the camera, and when you're ready, please share for us the big life lessons that you learned. We always call this On the Path. So what did you learn on the path to purpose that you could share? Things that that you're saying, like, now that I'm here, I could tell you this, never do, or this has no effect, or this, do this and do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Number 1, trust God. If He brought you to it, He'll bring you through it. For everything that I've been through, all the huge hurdles and obstacles, God was my foundation, and that's how I got through it, by having a closer relationship.
Yeah.
Number 2, I would say, is love people for where they are.
Oh, I love that. Love people where they're at. Yeah. Where they're at. Yeah. Love people for who they are.
Yeah. Yes. We all progress differently. We all evolve differently. And sometimes when we're evolving at a faster pace and people are not there yet, you still have to love them. You may not have to stay there with them, but you still have to love them.
I love that. Yeah. Good.
What else? Oh man. I mean, roll with the punches. Life happens.
Life happens.
Life happens.
I love that. That's lesson 3. Life happens. Go with the flow. In this case, go with the rain.
Yeah.
The rain won't stop us. Don't let the storm stop you. That's perfect for me. Someone is sitting here and literally, physically, you are in a storm. Literally, you are in the raining part of your life. You feel like you want to give up. There's clouds. You can't see the light of day. It is no mistake. I always say nothing is by coincidence. So even as it's pouring and it seems like giving up,
yep,
something brought you to this vlog to push through like we're pushing through.
Yes.
And so in our last sort of encouraging word, I'm going to ask Makini to just look to that camera and tell that person who's afraid, who's scared, who is in prison and doesn't want to leave, what should they do? Just ignite them right now.
I would honestly say, I mean, you have to have ridiculous amounts of faith. And when I say that, faith and fear both require the same amount of effort. They are both beliefs in the unknown. You need to make a decision and choose wisely. But I would say choose faith.
And you're greater than you know. You're greater than you know. There's so much in you that the world needs, and you are here for a purpose. And so I want to thank you, Makini, in this storm, for bearing the storm and the rain as we get ready to close. And I want to encourage you, don't let the storms of life deter you from what God's called you to do. There is a purpose. You were built with one. You were born with one. There's something that lights you up. Don't forget that. Don't let life quell that fire, subdue that fire. Go back to that passion. Don't leave this life without giving it all away.
That's right.
I love one quote you said is live full,
die empty.
Die empty. Live full and die empty. And with that, here's to living, here's to learning, here's to loving, here's to dying empty and living full. I'll see you on the path. Huh? Wow. Well, of course, as things would have it, the rain stops after our talk. But actually, I believe that that's for you. When you find your purpose, when you get back on track, when you get ignited again, the rains will stop. The storms in your life will have no effect on you. You will be so focused that what people say, as Makini said, what they do, all the you can'ts, all the you shouldn'ts, all the you don't matter. I love what Makini said. You have to get very allergic to negativity. You have to get, as I say in the church, delivered from people. People's opinions will keep you bound. They will keep you small. They will keep you living a partial life. And you are called to live a full life. And as Makini said, die empty. So find that purpose again. Get reignited in what you have always wanted to do. This vlog is well timed for you. This is a gift to you to get back on track. If you are interested in getting some life coaching, I would say there's no better person than Makini Smith. I'm going to put the link just below. I really encourage you to reach out. Just connect, have a coffee, give her a call, go onto her website, find out a little bit more about her and her life story and how she can help you really soar into your purpose. The great things are in store for you. You don't even know what's in store. It is greater than you know. You are greater than you know. And so I encourage you to move to the next level. It may take getting rid of a few people in your life. It may take shedding a few no's. It may take removing yourself from negativity. But it's time to step fully into purpose. I want to thank Makini Smith, who has been a poster child of purpose. And I want to encourage you to live full and die empty. See you on the path.